Down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so this is the 3DS remake of The Legend of Zelda
User
Majora's
left your
Mask.
channel.
Um, it's broken in different ways compared to the original game, and some of those ways are very entertaining to watch. The run, unfortunately, still has its first cycle, which takes up about the first 25 minutes of the run before anything actually kind of gets going. And I've decided to play in English because it's not the fastest language, but it's so people can like understand what's going on and hopefully be able to read some of the text. The fastest language is Japanese, but I don't have access to Japanese on my NTSC Nintendo 3DS. I am also using the Circle Pad Pro accessory for this run because this game sort of comes with a free cam, sort of like one that Wind Waker and Twilight Princess had. And with a regular Nintendo 3DS, you can only use the free cam with the Circle Pad Pro. But that's not the reason we have a Circle Pad Pro. The reason we have a Circle Pad Pro is because if you have the free cam activated, then the game takes a long time to sort of like reinitialize after you do a home buffer. And this makes it really easy to do one frame buffering in this game, which is useful for only really one trick that we have to do in the run, which saves about 3 to 4 minutes over not using it. And so yeah, that's why we have the Circle Pad Pro. And so again, I'm not in the fastest language, but language doesn't matter because all the text boxes in this game are like quick text boxes. You just mash through all of them basically. The only text boxes which aren't quick are the giant cutscenes text boxes, and those are those go at like some stupid slow rate, like 1 letter per frame or something. Although I do like the fact that I can sort of use a free cam in this game. The free cam isn't as good as the ones in previous Zelda games like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, but since I'm like originally a Wind Waker speedrunner, I like having the free cam to be able to use. Alright, so this is like the first area in the game that we get to control as Link, and it's pretty straightforward. The fastest movement in the game is backwalking, at least as regular Link. We just have to jump across these logs. There is a faster form of movement known as fessing, where if you hold the ESS position and then get damaged by something, and then you hold L to L target, Link will sort of like go forward at a speed that's slightly faster than backwalking, but it doesn't really save enough time anywhere, in my opinion, to be significant enough. Other runners do it, but in each area where it's applicable, it only saves like 2 or 3 seconds. And it's not really applicable in many areas. And so this game, Nintendo hired a company known as Grezzo to create their N64 3DS remakes. So both Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D were made by Grezzo, which is a Japanese-based company. And Grezzo, I don't know if they're like just trying to be funny or something, but they are really bad at trying to patch glitches in games. Like they tried patching ISG in Ocarina of Time, and they kind of failed. Like I think in Ocarina of Time 3D, the only like major glitch off the top of my head that I know they patched was super sliding. But there are still ways to do other glitches that they tried to patch, like ground jumping and, again, ISG. Although we don't use ISG in this run, even though it's possible to get ISG, but you can only get it as a Deku with a special item known as the Deku Sword. That's what we like to call it. It's actually the Great Fairy Sword, but it's invisible when you get it. And we don't get that item in this run. So now we're a Deku Scrub. So there's not really much to explain right now, other than, again, the fastest form of movement is backwalking, except for Goron Link, whose fastest form of movement is just rolling. This is sort of just like a tutorial section of the game to get you kind of used to the mechanics. You can kind of just skip over trying to go through that other area. Also, I'm kind of surprised that that failed. That usually doesn't fail. But you should be able to side hop past there. Let's try that again. There we go. So yeah. So now we're in Clock Tower. And so in the original N64 game, you could skip this cutscene by pausing, but we don't actually have pausing yet. We don't get pausing until Cycle 2. And even when we get it, we don't use it to, like, skip cutscenes or anything like the original game does. Plus, this cutscene is fast anyway, so skipping it wouldn't save much time if it was possible. Also, mashing whenever the game, like, displays Dawn of the First Day or Dawn of the Second Day, like, cutscenes makes those cutscenes shorter. And so basically our goal in Cycle 1 is to just beat it as fast as possible. And to do that, we have to make the day-night cycle advance as fast as possible, because we need to get into Clock Tower. And so the fastest way to do that is to, I don't know what her actual name is, but she's the granny who kind of lives in the Stockpot Inn. And she tells you stories which you fall asleep to and then wake up at a later time. One story advances 2 hours, and one story advances a whole day. That's the wrong story. I meant to press down twice, but I guess I pressed A too quickly. I'm supposed to hear the story of the 4 giants. So now we've advanced time as far as she can take it. And so the only other way to advance time is to go to the Scarecrow on the other side of town, who will advance it to night of the first day for us. Alright. So this will take us to night of the first day. And now our movement for like the next 6 minutes doesn't really matter, as long as we don't like talk to anything or go into any extra loading zones. Because we have to wait for time to pass anyway. So you're kind of forced to watch this cutscene. It's possible to skip this cutscene, but then we wouldn't be able to deposit any money into the bank in first cycle, so we just watch the cutscene. So we have to get this stray fairy, and then return it to the Great Fairy, who is in Clocktown. Before we do that, we're gonna go into this room, which has a silver rupee in it. For some reason in this game they allow you to move the free cam while Link is opening a chest, and while he's like opening doors and stuff. Which is kind of cool. So there's a trigger in front of the Great Fairy, but we can sort of skip the trigger by backflipping into it and then holding R and mashing A for Deku spinning. For some reason that just prevents the trigger from playing, and it saves time because then time won't stop passing, and we need time to continue passing. So it saves like a second if you do it both ways, because the trigger's still there. And we don't want to trigger it. And so now, like, there's not really much else to do. We just have to go to South Clocktown and wait for like 2 minutes, because Clock Tower isn't open yet. Although we still have to deposit our money into the bank. So normally you're not supposed to be able to get up here as Deku, but by doing a gainer, which is kind of like a forwards backflip, we can get up here. And I'm pretty bad at them. So thankfully there are only 2 gainers in the run. So yeah, this is the excitement that is first cycle. There is also another method of getting up here, which involves backflipping and then turning around during the backflip, which only Deku Link can really do for some reason. And I think it's required that you do that in a glitchless speedrun, but I'm not too sure about the glitchless rules. So yeah, now's a good time to like go to the bathroom, I guess. Get some more popcorn. You can come back in about maybe 9 minutes, and we may have begun to do something more interesting. Unfortunately, I wasted about 20 seconds so far because I fell down in the area before Clock Tower, and because I chose the wrong story for Granny to read me. Okay, so now it's midnight. And there's actually also a small text trigger right where we're standing, but we can easily skip that trigger by just mashing A right now and spinning before it activates. So the only reason that we needed magic in first cycle was so we could shoot a bubble at Skull Kid right now, because that's how we get the ocarina back from him. And now we have a flashback. You can also play songs really fast in this game for some reason. There was one time where I played all the notes of a song when learning it except for the last note, but then I pressed the correct last note and like a different button on the same frame. And so even though I played the song correctly, the game like counted it as wrong because there was an extra button at the end of it. So playing songs too fast is a thing in this game. And also, unfortunately for us, the ocarina is a touchscreen item. And it's always a touchscreen item. You're forced to have it be a touchscreen item. You can't move it around or anything. I guess because the developers thought it was an important aspect of the game, and so they wanted it on screen at all times. Although it makes it hard to do tricks where you have to press the ocarina within a specific time frame. And also on the original version you could skip this cutscene because in the original version Song of Time prompted, or well, the Song of Time created a save prompt. And in the original version you could just click save and then reset the console to skip the cutscene. But Song of Time doesn't save in this version. You can only save at owl statues and feather statues. And so we're forced to watch this cutscene. So now we have to go back in here, because the Happy Mask Salesman does a few useful things for us. Firstly, he teaches us the Song of Healing, which can't be skipped. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to get Zora Mask, or Goron Mask, or Gibdo Mask, which we also get in the run. Also, in this version of the game, Grezzo, for some reason, decided to, like, slow down the amount of acceleration that Deku Link gets when he walks forward, which makes traversing over lily pads annoying when we have to traverse over them. Although we don't really do that much, thankfully, but it's just kind of annoying, like an annoying change. There's also another annoying change with Zora Link, where basically in the original you could swim really fast, but in this version you can only swim really fast if you have magic, and swimming really fast consumes your magic. So if you don't have magic, you can't swim fast, and it's kind of stupid, honestly. And also, even though text, like you don't control when the text gets canceled in this cutscene, but if you mash during this cutscene, for some reason the cutscene becomes 6 seconds quicker for some reason. Because I guess you advance the text faster. And so mashing during this cutscene does save time. So another change from the original is that for some reason the masked salesman is the one who gives you the bomber's notebook. And so essentially you're forced to get the bomber's notebook, but oddly enough the bomber's notebook is actually useful in a speed run, so it's good that he gives it to us. And so now that we got the bomber's notebook, we also have pause buffering in this game. At least in-game pause buffering. And now we finally get to do stuff that's slightly more interesting than Cycle 1. Hello? Oh. So now we're going to withdraw 90 of the rupees that we saved in the bank. And we're going to use them to buy bombs and bomb shoes, which are very useful in Majora's Mask speedrun. The bomb shoes won't be used for like another hour, though. Okay. So we need to go to the swamp first. And in front of the swamp, there's this annoying cutscene trigger that we don't want to activate. So I'm going to do the trick first, and then I'm going to explain it. Alright. I got it. So basically, during a side hop into the trigger, we can pull out the ocarina, and that stops the cutscene from playing. And then once the area loads back up, the cutscene trigger is going to be gone. And basically we needed to change it to nighttime for the cutscene skip to work. Now we're going to play Song of Inverted Time because it'll keep the day-night cycle correct for the rest of the run. This angle's a little bit weird. Yeah, so the cutscene that it skips is about like 2 minutes long, so I'm really glad that I got that. And we can roll into this bush for a Deku stick. And then we're going to check this owl statue because we need to come back to it later. And another change from the original game is that they decided to move the Song of Soaring right here. For some reason, I guess, because you could potentially skip it in the original, I think. But here they force you to learn it. And that's actually a good thing, because otherwise we'd have to go deeper into the swamp to get it if they hadn't changed his location. And so swimming here is faster instead of using Deku Link to go over the lily pads. And this is one area where the free cam helps a lot, because I can move the free cam while I'm rolling around to see where I'm going. So now we're in the Woods of Mystery, and I picked up a bush. We need to come here because we need to talk to one of the witches so we can go tell her sister that she's like injured in the woods. Also, if you mash B while climbing a ladder or a wall in this game, Link will climb it really fast, which is an interesting change. I don't really know why they decided to do that. So we did all of this so that we could get a red potion. She wants us to give it back to her sister, but we don't really care about that, so we're just gonna leave. This is also the only time that the game forces you to watch a Song of Soaring cutscene. All the other ones we can skip because I guess they thought that if you watched it once, you didn't need to watch it again. And so the next area we're going to go to is the mountain village in the north of Termina. Normally you're not supposed to get there early, but thanks to stupid like geometry near the point that's trying to block us, we can get in. So normally you need the bow and arrow to shoot down these ice sculptures, like these icicles, but you can kind of just side hop up this wall and walk around them. It's like one of the dumbest things ever. So now I'm going to equip my items that I need. I got a weird camera angle. It's not entirely straight back. And so now we need to get the mountain village owl statue. We're going to be coming back to the mountain village a lot, so an owl statue right here is useful. So basically what we're doing right now is we're going to the Goron village to get the Lens of Truth, which we need to get the Goron mask. And we're going to pick up some conveniently placed Deku Nuts right here. So, in this game, when you jump off of a ledge, how far you go is determined by what your speed was when you went off the ledge. So if you have a bomb, like, explode behind you and you jump off a ledge, then you end up jumping really far. And that's, like, really useful in this game for a lot of things. So now this is the Lens of Truth. I'm going to be putting something else in my bottle later, so I'm going to drink my red potion now. This is the only thing you really need the Lens of Truth for. It's just getting into Darmani's grave. And climbing this wall is useful for that also. You technically don't need the Lens of Truth to climb this wall, but you need it in Darmani's grave. And so this is the cutscene that happens before we get the Goron mask. The Goron mask is useful in this game because it allows you to travel around really fast. And it also allows you to get over some ledges that we need to get over. It's also kind of required for fighting Goat, if you want to make the Goat fight, like, not take an eternity. So now we're going to go to Great Bay. We don't need to get the Goron Lullaby or anything, that's not important. What is important, though, is Zora Mask, and so that's why we're going to go to Great Bay next. So normally you need a Pona to jump over this fence. Let's see here. Okay. This is the setup for the long jump to get over there. Okay, so like I was talking about before with the home buffering, having the Circle Pad Pro makes it really easy to do one-frame buffers. Like, I'm just kind of lightly mashing the home button. Oh, and I'm surprised that didn't work. Let's see, probably need to be a little more this way. I don't think this is going to work. This angle looks weird. Yeah, okay. I don't know what this is. I'm going to go with the setup. That's not the setup. I don't know, usually I'm good at eyeballing the position I need to be at to make this trick. Alright, there we go. So, that's a frame-perfect jump slash. Now we're going to catch some bugs in a bottle, because we're going to use them for a glitch called Time Stop later. So in the original version, this Zora named Mikau, you still have to push him and he still has to walk up the beach. Except for some reason in this version, after he takes a few steps, he just kind of teleports up to the top of the beach. I guess because they felt that cutscene was too long. And this is the cutscene that a lot of people usually Bible thump at. I usually don't do anything special during this cutscene, though. It is a very sad cutscene, though. And then, you know, Mikau just kind of fades off. So now we got the Zora mask, which is mainly only useful for swimming around everywhere. So there's still one more thing we need at Great Bay, and it's the hook shot. I'm going to equip the Zora mask. So jumping in and out of the water like this is actually faster, as long as we have magic. If we don't have magic, then we can't consistently go at fast speed, so we just have to kind of mash the R button. So this is the Pirate's Fortress. And we don't want to get caught by these guards here. Normally you have to be able, or normally you go through the sewers to be able to get to like the actual fortress area. Also nice. Use Goron mask here. But because of long jumping, along with a combination of this glitch called a mask jump, we can get up here. So basically in this game, if you jump slash and then do a glitch called mask storage, where if you're just in the air and you press a button, then congratulations, you've done mask storage. That's literally all there is to it. Basically then, the jump slash will get cancelled, but the height that Link still got out of the jump slash will, like, he'll still have that height, and he can still, like, grab onto ledges and stuff. And these guards are really slow at turning around that we can just kind of run up to them and punch them. So now we're going to do time stop, because there's a cutscene trigger over here that we don't want to go into. Okay. So we get time stop by doing mask storage, and then backflipping and pressing bottle and shield. Hello, Dicky Mask. There we go. And so basically that puts... time obviously stops because of the name. And also cutscene triggers can't load. So once we go past the cutscene trigger, we don't need time stop anymore. Oops. So we don't need anything else here. We don't need to collect any Zora eggs or anything. It's not important. And I'd really like to get this fairy. And this big Octo can easily be defeated by just throwing some Zora fins at him. So now we're going to Deku Palace because we need to learn the Sonata of Awakening, which will allow us to get into the Woodfall Temple, which is the first temple in the game. So these guards are like really blind, and they can't see you even when you're like right next to them. We can just kind of backflip up onto this door frame. Normally you'd need a magic bean and a bottle of water to be able to get through the Deku Palace, but there are so many ways to skip that. It's also possible to backflip on that door as a Deku, so I technically didn't have to transform into a Zora to do it, but I always feel more comfortable as a Zora doing it. Also, I'm not facing him. So this is the last, or no wait, this isn't the last song. We still have one more song to learn in this game. But the other songs like Goron Lullaby, Nue Bossa Nova, and Elegy of Emptiness, we skip all of them. We don't need them. So now we need to go to the Woodfall Temple. Whoops. We can kind of skip like a ledge climbing animation right there, if we hop up onto this platform correctly. So now we can use a long jump right here to quickly get past these orange flowers. And we can just kind of jump as a Zora past this one. But from here, we have to use Deku. We have to be careful, because, yeah, they can hit us. Hello? I'm gonna wait for them. Okay, good, they're both dead. And I assure you that the beeping will stop soon enough. So we can get a magic refill in this grass. And heart refill here. I sort of like went back there so I could get more speed going off the lily pad. Because like I said before, Deku acceleration is really slow in this game. Okay. Now we can do a long jump here to skip having to fly as Deku. This guy... Sometimes he goes down right before you hit him, which is annoying. And so now we can enter Woodfall Temple. So we're entering Woodfall Temple first, which is kind of the intended order of the game. Although we're entering with a bunch of extra masks and an extra item, the hookshot, which really kind of break this temple majorly. Mainly because this temple has a bunch of conveniently placed torches everywhere. So there's that torch right there. Then there's this torch right here. We can skip climbing up this ledge by pressing a mask during the middle of the jump. And we need to be Goron anyway. And so this is the bow room. And this fight is honestly pretty much a joke. This guy only has like 4 health, so it just takes 1 ground pound to kill him. Also, I spawned on top of the chest. So even though the bow is the item obtained in this dungeon, we don't use the bow at all. And we can long jump over here because we need to get the boss key. Alright, so now this frog calls over his turtle friend and they try to battle me together. Although because this turtle is a hookshotable source, it's possible to do what's called a hookshot clip with him. And we can just kind of clip through that door and get the boss key without having to fight them. But since the door is still barred, we can only get out of here with the Song of Soaring. Alright, so after we get over here again, we're going to do a glitch called Action Swap, where the game kind of gets confused as to what item Link is actually holding. And with it, we can magically shoot a fire arrow. Well, it's not actually a fire arrow, it's an arrow that's passed through a fire source. and it can be used to solve any puzzle that requires a fire arrow. Pretty much skipping fire arrows, essentially. Also, thankfully, I didn't get trolled right there. And now we're into the boss fight. And so this is Odawa. Every boss in this game has had this sort of, like, eye concept added to them, which in my opinion is kind of stupid. It makes all the boss fights longer, essentially. So we have to fly in and drop Deku Nuts above this guy to stun his eye. It's supposed to represent the fact that Majora is possessing them. So this fight's really easy. We just do this 3 times, basically. Okay, so now he's standing upright, so I just have to go slightly farther behind him to drop the Deku Nut. And like all bosses in the Zelda franchise, he drops a heart container. Alright, so that was Woodfall. It's probably one of the easiest dungeons in the game. So this is the last song in the game that we learn. It's the Oath to Order. Nice. I can't play ocarina songs. I probably just pressed Y too early there. So those are one of the, or that's one of the slow text boxes during the Giants cutscene. And so if we were to do this dungeon like second, third, or fourth, then this cutscene wouldn't be here, but unfortunately it's just too slow to do it that way. Oops, no. Alright. So next we're gonna go to Ikana. Not to beat Stone Tower Temple, but because we need the Gibdo Mask. The Gibdo Mask is very helpful. Mainly because it's pretty broken. And so because it's nighttime, we have these Jinx bubbles flying around here. And we need these here because normally we need Epona to get over these fences. But when these guys attack us and we're high enough in the air, they kind of just push us over. So we can kind of backflip onto this rock. And then... that was weird. Never had that happen before. Alright, so now we've saved at this save statue. So now that we've opened the game, there's an internal timer in the game, which sort of counts to see how long the game has been on. And that's actually really important for what we do next. Also, shoutouts to the developer who decided to place that save statue there. He helped with the speedrun route of this game. So normally you'd need ice arrows to cross this gap because you'd freeze the Octoroks. We can just long jump over. Alright, so I'm going to wait for the Gibdo in front of me to get into a better position. Okay. Alright, so now he's noticed me. And I'm going to use him to hookshot clip into the music box house. Whoops, that wasn't what I wanted to do. And so now we're in the music box house. Mainly because we need to get the Gibdo mask. This is also a very sad cutscene. Well, not sad, but like heartwarming, I guess. Alright, so now that we have the Gibdo mask, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a bottle over it with ESS bottle duping. So that places a bottle over the Gibdo mask. And now when we catch stuff in that bottle, weird things are going to happen, basically. And the game's going to get really confused because there's a bottle in the wrong slot. So now we're going to do action swap again. except we're going to use Tingle. This allowed us to shoot a fire arrow on that ice, because in this grotto there's hot spring water, which we need to get. So right now I'm going to set a tattle alarm for 6 a.m. on the first day. And now I'm going to catch hot spring water. And now the game is really confused, and so we get an error screen. And time is actually going pretty crazy right now. It's going at a rate of about 1 day every few frames, and so we use inverted Song of Time to fix that. Now we use Song of Double Time to set the time to 5 a.m. because we need to watch a day transition in a certain area. Also, there are negative 23 hours remaining. Also, I'm going to collect Deku sticks right now while there's downtime, because I don't have to actually be anywhere until the in-game time is at 6 a.m. So the place we need to be at is the post office in this game, in Clocktown. So many people kind of wonder like what day this is, because we're not in like a normal in-game day. Many people usually think that this is 4th day, but this is actually 9th day. Yes, this game has 9 days. Oops. I think this game actually has about 20, but day 9 is the useful one. And so Dawn of a New Day is a screen that usually plays once you beat the game. But in this case, it's going to teleport us to the goat fight. So using the convenience of action swap, we can melt goat with a fire arrow. So now we can't do like the original arrow spamming technique that's used in the original game. We have to knock him down as a Goron. So this battle has 3 cycles, and the first cycle we use 3 arrows, also nice placement. For the first cycle we use 3 arrows and a bomb, the second cycle is 2 arrows and a bomb, and then the third cycle is 3 arrows and a bomb again. Also nice. Goat's trying to block me here. Okay. So now Goat's dead. And we're gonna pick up his heart container like we did with Odawa. And so when we catch the hot spring water for the wrong warping that we do in this game, we can only catch hot spring water on certain cycles, depending on how long the game has been on, which is why it was important which is why it's important for me to see how long the game's been on. The cycles occur roughly, well, the cycles start every 80 minutes, or not 80 minutes, every 80 seconds. So the first cycle begins at around 2 minutes and 29 seconds, and the next cycle begins at around 3 minutes and 49 seconds, which is the cycle at which we caught Hot Spring Water to wrong warp to the goat fight. And so the next cycle that we hope to hit is the 10:31 cycle, which should be easily doable. The cycle before that is the 9:10 cycle, but that cycle is too fast and we can't really hit that cycle. And the time period in which you can catch Hot Spring Water for wrong warping lasts about 15 seconds. Otherwise, the game, otherwise, instead of doing like the infinite loop of day 9s, the game will just race through the days until the moon crashes, and then the moon crashes. So even though the goat fight was bad, it really doesn't matter that it was bad. Also nice. Because we still have to wait a long time to catch Hot Spring Water for the next wrong warp. Also, I'm going to collect one last Deku Stick here for a maximum of 10. Alright, so we need Zora Mask and arrows. So we have to wait like 10 more seconds for the 10:31 cycle. Okay. So every time a new purple banner like flashes over the screen, that means that another day has passed. And here you can see just how fast like every half day is passing. And so now we're in the Gyorg fight because it's just conveniently outside the grotto. After the day transition happens, this conveniently happens to be the place that you get put in. If you try going out here as a Goron and then entering the fight, it doesn't work because you continuously revoid in water. Also, time is still passing, so it's important that we mash the ocarina and then play the inverted Song of Time. So Gyorg has 2 phases. This is the first phase, which is 3 cycles. Basically, you just shoot him 5 times, and then he reveals his weak spot, which very innovatively is an eyeball. Oh, okay. So we don't need the hot spring water anymore. Not until the next wrong warp, at least. So this is phase 2, which is the really annoying phase. Because sometimes the attacks that you try to put up against him don't work, and they can waste a lot of time and make you miss the earliest wrong warp cycle. Nice. That was cool RNG. Right, so the mine... Yeah, okay, so the mine goes into his mouth, he tries to eat it, and his weak spot gets revealed again. Wow. Thanks, Georg. Okay, well, there's nothing we can really do about that. Oh wait, we might be able to get this if he doesn't want to move, but he probably will move. Oh, no, he didn't. Alright, good. Alright. Well, that's cool of him. He decides to not spawn near any mines again. So there's nothing we can do. We just have to sit here and waste time. Okay. This is better. But yeah, we're gonna miss the earliest wrong warp cycle because Georg decided to waste our time. That unfortunately happens. I would say that happens about half the time, so half your runs you're gonna waste about 80 seconds, and half your runs are not gonna waste about 80 seconds. And we don't collect this heart container. So because we never, like, went through this turtle cutscene, this is kind of just a combination between the turtle and the rock. It's kind of messed up. Now we're gonna go back and catch more hot spring water to do more wrong warping. And the cycle that we're gonna be forced to kind of hit is the 1710 cycle. I also want to avoid grass patches because I want low health. I want a heart and a half of health before I catch hot spring water. Also, there's time to maneuver stuff around in my inventory. Okay. So time again is once going crazy and we have to slow it down. And then set the time again to 5 a.m. So the place that we have to go to this time for wrong warping is, again, Clocktown. But this time we're going to go to the milk bar. So I'm going to safety save here because it's possible to screw up here. just kind of line up here. Okay, so unfortunately, the viewer doesn't really get to see what's going on here, because we're kind of inside a wall. But basically what I'm doing right now is I'm doing consecutive mask jumps, where I do one mask jump, I take out a bottle so that Zorlink puts away his fins, and I do another mask jump after that, and another one after that. In total, I need to do 3 consecutive mask jumps to get to the loading zone for the milk bar. Unfortunately, that wasn't a very good buffer, so... Okay, yeah. So that was more than 1 frame, and that was the last buffer that I needed to do, so that was kind of stupid. So hopefully we might be able to make it in before the transition happens. You have to be quick, though. Okay, never mind, we're not going to make it because I clipped back out, so we have to reset. But basically, every consecutive mask jump requires 5 frame perfect inputs. So it's pretty good that we get the kind of free 1 frame buffering here. Although, like you saw there, it can still fail sometimes. So, yeah. Unfortunately, that happened. Okay, so we're in this time. It is also possible to get a 0 frame buffer, like right there. I think that was also a 0 frame buffer. Nope, that was not a 0 frame buffer. So I think I failed this again. Yeah, okay, I'm not... Yep, okay. So unfortunately we have to try again. I thought it was a 0 frame buffer because the screen, like, it looked like it didn't move, but it probably barely moved at all. Okay, for some reason that also wasn't a 0 frame buffer. I mean a 1 frame buffer. So we have to reset again. I don't know what's up with the home buffering today, but for some reason it's just not working. Okay, apparently that was too early for letting go. Okay, let's see if we can actually get this time, because this honestly isn't a hard trick. Okay, so that's 1. That's 2. Okay. That's 3. Now we can just pull out the bottle and then jump slash into the loading zone. We can gain her down here. And so this is going to be the last wrong warp we do. And this one sends us to Stone Tower Temple. So we need to exit and then re-enter. Otherwise, when we play Song of Soaring to come back to the entrance later, we'll get soared back to the milk bar, because that was our last actual entrance point. I'm going to make another safety save here, because there's another trick that it's possible to screw up. But I probably won't screw that one up, and if I could just open this door, that would be nice. And unfortunately, we have to push this block all the way to the end, which is really tedious. So now we're at half a heart. Now we've died, and we can use the free cam while a convenient fairy revives us. Basically, we're just going to kind of wedge ourselves between this block and the wall and get pushed through. And so in this next room, we need to defeat a bunch of Armoses. And when Link enters, his position is convenient enough that just shield dropping a bomb chew will climb that wall and get an Armos on the other side. So after we've defeated all the Armos, a small key will appear. For some reason, they added a switch right here to make that chest appear. In the original version, the chest is just kind of out in the open. Alright, so in this room, normally we'd need the mirror shield to get through it. But doing this, gainering up here, we can then do a long jump to that sunblock over there. And then falling off this ledge as Deku, we can grab the end of it and then climb up through this wall. And finally we can hookshot this crate to get over here. That's how we get through that room. And in this room we can just use Deku as normal. Oops, no. Alright, so this guy is easily defeated with Deku Sticks and Deku Nuts if I could hit him with a Deku Nut. I kind of expected him to jump up like he usually does. Oops. Alright, so these are the light arrows. And we need them in Stone Tower Temple to invert the temple. First, though, we need magic, so we're gonna go get a refill of that. And conveniently, the developers decided to put that, like, gem switch up there in this version of the game instead of down below like it used to be. So now we're in the inverted version of the temple. And Goron Link helps to speed up getting around here. So the only two things we really have to do in Inverted Stone Tower, I get the boss key and get a small key. We don't want that guy to hit us. And so this switch spawns a small key, and if we load that area first and then come back to hit it, it skips the cutscene of the chest actually appearing, and also I fell down. I was not expecting that to happen. Also, I hit that switch. I was not expecting that to happen either. So now if we go over here, and we kill this hand, we can angle ourselves precisely so that we can do an anti-grav and get down to the hallway that has the boss key earlier, or the hallway that leads to the boss key. So this is Gomez. He's easily defeated with light arrows and Deku Sticks. Except I missed. So just 5 of those and he's down. Alright, so now we just need to go to the boss room. hookshot and bombs right now. For some reason, this seam is really high. So we can just kind of roll across it and then do another long jump to press down that switch. And we need this chest to appear so that we can hookshot to it. And this is the door we need to use the small key on. This guy can be easily defeated with bombs. I wasn't really expecting that to happen, but okay. The run is pretty bad right now. But there's not much left of it. Basically just need arrows for the twin mold fight. I also need to set it to, like 10 o'clock p.m. of the third day, so that after we finish the twin mold fight, we can go straight to Clock Tower. Luckily with Song of Double Time in this game, you can choose exactly what hour you want to speed up time to. Ten o'clock is good. So now we're in the twin mold fight. And so, right now we can only fight blue twin mold, really. Red twin mold is only of, like, a pest, so a pest, like, this far into the battle. Oh, nice. Red twin mold decided to spawn right there. So we have to watch out for red twin mold, because he deals 2 hearts of damage. So does blue twin mold, but blue twin mold can't really attack you unless he's coming out of the ground. So we want to avoid him. Alright, well he spawned really far away, so it's okay. Now I'm gonna wait for red twin molds. Okay, so now's the prime time to attack blue again. Okay. And another change in this version of the game from the original is that instead of giving you the Giant's Mask before you enter the fight, they decide to give you the Giant's Mask during the fight. Alright, so now we become Donkey Kong Link. We can kill these babies. Where is he? Okay. So Nintendo decided to incorporate some Super Mario 64 into this game. So now, Twinmold can either spawn babies or shoot fireballs, and of course he decides to spawn babies because that's the more annoying option. Okay, yeah, this is the fireball attack. And we can shield as Donkey Kong Link. Why is he always on the other end of the battlefield? Oh, wow, I missed. I missed again. And, okay, well, that broke. So now I can't use that ball anymore. Alright, good. And that's the end of Twinmold. So again, it's different from the original version, and that just ends up making the battle longer, which kinda sucks. And Twinmold is also the last of the 4 boss remains that we get. So now we can go and fight Majora. So this is like the most painstakingly long text box in the whole game. It's like one letter every 20 frames or something. So yeah, we were able to get all 4 boss remains and only enter about 2 temples, really. So now we just have to soar back to Clock Town and enter Clock Tower. I always fall down there. And I fell down there. Brilliant. Alright, so now we get to play the Oath to Order. It's possible to, like, be up here and play the Oath to Order without all the boss remains, but then the giants won't come during the cutscene. It'll just be empty. Also, this cutscene's like 5 minutes long, so it's a good bathroom break. So because we have all 4 boss remains, all 4 giants will come. If we only had like 3, then the giant from the area that we didn't get the remain from wouldn't appear during the cutscene. And 3 giants isn't enough to hold up the moon. So the cutscene's not over yet. We still have a few more minutes of it, unfortunately. So now Majora's taken control of Skull Kid. Or, well, he's like freed himself of Skull Kid. Because the puppet doesn't want to play the game anymore. So now up into the moon we go. Only to find that it's a very peaceful place.
User was moved to your channel.
Gymnast,
Yeah?
we just got a donation that I would like to read real quick.
Alright, that's fine.
From M. Boland, we got $140, who just says, "Rest in peace, Mr. Satoru Iwata." Thank you very much for that. We understand this affects everybody here at this marathon, where our games were mostly Nintendo-based, and it affects everybody here. I'd like to thank him for all that he did, and thank you. Good luck with the run.
Thank you very much. Alright, so this is basically the trolliest boss ever. Almost anything can go wrong here. Like, this battle's already gone wrong because Majora decided to move early. Majora can also sometimes fall out of bounds. Also, nice camera. Alright, so now these masks are going to start flying around, and they're really annoying. Alright, so one more light arrow, if I have the chance to do so. Alright, so that's the Majora's Mask phase. The next phase is the Incarnation phase, which you can potentially die on depending on what attacks Majora decides to throw at you. Ugh. So now we kill these masks because they're a serious annoyance during this battle. Oh, okay. I don't want to get hit by those. Where's this guy? Okay. Really? I'm very surprised that didn't hit him. So we can only really stun him with arrows when he's a long distance away. But after that, we can kind of chain the stuns on him by spin attacking, and he tries to fall through it. Alright. That was a pretty decent incarnation phase, actually. And so now for the Wrath phase, it's a little bit more controllable. Okay, that was a little bit too quick. So the stun lock failed. And he decided to throw a Beyblade out on us. But 20 punches and then it's done and we have time. I forgot to mention that. So, yeah, that's Majora's Mask 3D in roughly an hour and 50 minutes. That run honestly wasn't that good, but whatever, it doesn't matter very much. So now the moon just kind of crumbles away. And Termina's saved. A good time is like a 145 or like a 144. But I wasted a lot of time trying to get the consecutive mask jumps. And so now this is when you're actually supposed to see the dawn of a new day screen. Because if you try to do the transition wrong warping on Termina Field, then you'll get spawned on the Termina credits map with Epona, Skull Kid, and the Happy Mask Salesman all here. But it won't actually be like this cutscene with the credits, it'll just be the map. So, yeah, there isn't really much left. It's just a bunch of cutscenes. So, yeah. I don't really know what to say now. Other than, like, this is the end cutscene. Well, honestly, the estimate was kind of high. I probably should have put, like, 155 or 150. Anyway, thanks, guys. You can take me out now. Oh wait, we should watch the executive producer Satoru Iwata credits play. Maybe. In honor of Mr. Satoru Iwata. Alright, well there's Shigeru. Does it not show Iwata's name? Or does it show it next? Okay, I guess it doesn't show his name. That's awkward. Or I might show it at the end, I think. Yeah, okay, it's at the end. So now we just get like 360 views of these hats, or these masks, not hats. The first one was kind of a hat, but all the rest are masks that we didn't collect. So that's the Romani mask. That's the mask that you would need normally to get into the milk bar. And then the bunny hood. Also with this capture card, if I turn on the 3D, like on my 3DS, then everything like moves to the left. I mean, I think it's, or is it the right? I think it's the right. On the, yeah. Everything moves to the right a little bit. Unless it's centered, then it doesn't move, I don't think. Oh, that's cool. I guess Iwata wasn't executive producer. Instead, Hiroshi Yamauchi is. Anyway, thank you for the memories, Iwata. He's after the end scene with the log. Yeah, now these are like the Grezzo guys. The guys who are really good at adding more wrong warps to this game. This music is really good, though. Yeah, here we go, Nintendo of America. That's a lot of translators, but I guess there are a lot of European languages, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Executive producer Satoru Iwata. Alright, you can kick me out of the TeamSpeak channel now.